I am shockingly bad at cracking eggs. I love to cook, but this is something that just baffles me to this day. I'm a lot better than I used to be, but sometimes I don't hit it too hard or not hard enough, or I've even cracked the inside of the egg into the compost instead of putting the shell in there and putting the egg into my bowl. It's just, I'm a disaster. Eggs turn up in cocktails every once in a while, especially in a traditional sour. And there you have to crack the egg and just get the white into the cocktail and discard the yolk, and you gotta do that little passy, mixy, scoopy, whatever you call it, technique, or you can go through your fingers. It's not something I like to do. Luckily, I make cocktails at home and not at a bar. And there are some different kinds of techniques you can use at home that maybe you wouldn't want to use at a bar. And I want to talk about that, but I also want to talk about some things that you can do at home that are actually really impressive and will impress your guests, that seem like they're just techniques that you use at a bar, but they're actually not that complicated. So we're going to talk about a few different things, a few tips. We're talking about three things. It's going to be sours, sprays, and smoke. So let's get into it. Hi everybody, welcome back to another home bartender video for bartenderatlas.com. Now I'm going to be mentioning mezcal briefly in this video, and I thought it was a good opportunity to mention a trip that Bartender Atlas is organizing to go down to Mexico in October and learn all about mezcal. It's not just for bartenders, anyone can sign up and go with them. I'll leave the link in the description, and it sounds like an amazing trip. If you're interested in mezcal, learning more about spirits in general and how they're made, this is going to be probably a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to go and learn from the people really making an amazing drink that is only made in that one part of the world in Oaxaca. Like I said in the intro, I'm not great with eggs. And as a result, I used to be really intimidated by making a traditional whiskey sour. And it also has a component called a dry shake. Now, I'm not really sure why it's called a dry shake, because it's not dry at all. You combine all your ingredients in your shaker, and before you add ice, you want to shake it really hard to help emulsify the drink and get those egg whites kind of frothy, which creates that really nice bit of froth on top of the drink. And all those things just seemed intimidating. I'm not great with eggs. You have to shake really, really hard. It took me a long time to figure out just how hard to shake. But there are a couple of things you can do at home to make that drink a whole lot easier. And the first is to use these egg whites that you can get in a carton. They last a while and they're pasteurized. Are these pasteurized? Well, usually they're pasteurized, and they're just a lot easier to use. Now, I think if you're going to a bar, it looks way nicer if they're cracking a fresh egg to put into your sour, but at home, that's not something you have to do if you don't want to. Well, these might not be pasteurized, but you can get ones that are pasteurized, so they're a little safer. You don't have to worry about serving somebody raw eggs if they're squeamish about it or if you're squeamish about it. And then the other thing is to get one of these, like, latte milk foamers. You know, they're super cheap. You can get them on Amazon, and yeah, they sound like that. And instead of doing a dry shake, when you've combined all your ingredients in your tin, you can put this in there, give it a little whisk, and you get a really nice emulsified, foamy sour. I know there are bars that use these. I think that's fine. I prefer the dry shake if I'm at a bar. Again, why is it called a dry shake? Anyway, whoops. These two things for making a sour at home make it really quick, really easy. And I would just recommend taking a little extra time to clean these. I've had these get really, I gotta stop doing that. I've had these things get really kind of gunky. You know, take that extra time to clean that after you've used it. The second tip is to use a mister or atomizer, something like this that, you know, you can put spirit in. I keep absinthe in this one, and that might have even shown up. I have these ones. I have a nice sort of fancier gold one like this. And they're a really nice way to finish a drink, or if you're making a Sazerac, to spray the inside of the glass with your absinthe, which is what I use this for usually. First of all, it uses way less absinthe or whatever you're using. Still gets a lot of that aroma and flavor, and it's really easy to coat the whole inside of the glass with this. You can put like a rose water or an orange flower water in there to finish a drink. You can do like a smoky mezcal. Told you I'd be talking about mezcal. or a smoky scotch to finish a drink and just get a bit of that smoke, but more in the nose than on the flavor. You can really put anything you want in it at all. If you just want to spritz a little bit in the glass or on top of the drink to finish it, to give it a little bit of an extra dimension and extra flavor. And this looks really nice, and these things aren't very expensive either. You can get them on craftybartender.com. I'll leave a link to a few that they have there. Super easy. Tip number 2, misters, atomizers, tiny perfume spray bottles, whatever you want to call them, they're great. Okay, and the last tip is smoke. Maybe you've been to a bar where they've added smoke to a drink, but there are some easy ways you can do it, and all you really need is something to light something on fire with. So I've got one of these, like, I don't know, barbecue lighters. You'll need a brandy snifter. I guess you don't need a brandy snifter, but it helps, and I'll show you why in a minute. You'll need a plate or something that you don't mind getting a little bit of char or burnness on, and then something to smoke. I've done this with rosemary before. All I have at home right now is some thyme, so I'm using this sprig of thyme, and we'll see how it goes. And all you're going to do is you're going to actually light this thing on fire. And then see, you're going to get that nice smoke, and then you're going to put the snifter on top of it and let the smoke fill that up. And then you can do that right before you're mixing your drink, and then you can make your drink, have your smoke filling up your snifter, and then when you're done making your drink, what you do is you can turn over the snifter, and you're going to get beautiful smoke coming out of it, and you pour your drink into the brandy snifter. I really can't say snifter. You pour it in there, and it's going to pick up some of that smoke, and from here, then you pour it into the glass you want to serve it in. Because if you serve it in here, the smoke is going to be really overpowering. It might be a little too much. It's really not that hard. And then the reason that you want the snifter, ideally, because it gets narrower to the top, it traps that smoke a little better. So I hope those tips were helpful. I hope you can see how there are different approaches to drinks and different things you can do at home. I encourage you to try all these things and play around with them. I will leave the links I talked about in the description below. And until next month, cheers.